Hey, what's going on, Soul Nation? Ginger Prime here, and I honestly don't know how to feel right now. There's a lot that's really kind of happened over the last just a couple hours, and I wanted to talk about it. But before I kind of give my thoughts, and if you're just here for my thoughts on this whole BioWare situation, I'll point to the kind of the playhead in the bottom. You can kind of just jump to that and skip the context of this video. But I want to dive into the message from EA Electronic Arts, from Casey Hudson and everyone, and give my honest opinion and kind of question about what this could mean for the future of BioWare. I've seen some people already speculating on big things to come from Microsoft, but beyond all that, I think it's important we first set the context, talk about it, what it means for Anthem, for Dragon Age, for all the games that are under BioWare, and maybe hope for the best. So let's go ahead and do it. Anyway, so this comes from Laura Melly, and I'm hopefully not butchering her name, the Chief Studios Officer at Electronic Arts, saying, "We strive for all of our studios to be places where talented, creative people come to do career-defining work. And a mention of this ambition is that sometimes those people want to try something different. Casey Hudson, the GM of BioWare, and Mark Darrah, probably butchering his name too, executive producer of Dragon Age, are two of those people, and they have decided to move on from BioWare. I want to personally thank Casey and Mark for everything that they've done for their BioWare community, and particularly for our players. They will always be an essential part of that studio's history, and we appreciate their many contributions, and we look forward to seeing what they do next." More from Casey and Mark here, and we'll cover that just here in a second. Now, also, I think this is a lot of PR, so just note that this seems very canned forethought. Anyway, more of my thoughts to come soon. When we think about BioWare's future and the next generation of talent in place, I could not be more confident or optimistic. As we look for the studio's future and the projects currently under development, the next generation of BioWare talent is leading the studio forward and working on some incredible games that I know that you'll be excited to experience in the coming years. Samantha Ryan, who came from Electronic Arts after leading Warner Brothers games, is one of the strongest leaders in the industry. She will continue to oversee the studio. I'm also excited to announce Christian Daly, who, just so you know, is the current studio head of Anthem, is actually joined BioWare from Blizzard, is going to be leading their Dragon Age project that is currently in development. Christian is a fantastic creative leader, and they look forward to seeing all and getting to know him in the coming days. We recently announced Mass Effect: The Legendary Edition, and Mike Gamble is leading the team hard at work on that franchise's future. As we search for a new GM is underway, we have already been talking with some great people. We will find the right leader who has a deep love and respect for the studio's heritage, who embodies the values of this team, and will help carry on this incredible legacy of BioWare. And I just as a note on this, that does sound like this somewhat caught him off guard. If there's not somebody to immediately kind of hand over the reins, or if there's not some kind of transition period, I wonder if this was a shock to everybody, but I'm only speculating at that point. All right, so let's dive into Mark's his letter here. I have been at BioWare since the 90s, back when CRPGs were considered a dead genre. Although in the last 23 years, I have watched video games evolve and grow into truly powerful communication medium. We are an important part of many people's lives, and BioWare has been a part of this journey. Though I remain confident in BioWare's strength and continued place in this conversation, I have decided to retire at my position at BioWare. This has been a very difficult decision for me. The team is amazing. The developers on Dragon Age make my life fuller and better, and they have taught me so much, but the strength of the team is also what makes this possible. I know that the Dragon Age won't just survive without me. It will thrive. BioWare has always been about telling emotional stories through characters, and we have always wanted that way from the central guiding pillar at times. But I am confident that the next Dragon Age will show you what we remain committed to this kind of game, and that we have a lot to show you. This year it's been transformative in many ways in what we do everything. The way that we work, the way we socialize, and these are things that have changed. Some of these changes are temporary, but others will remain forever. I believe that this gives us an opportunity to bring in new voices, to reimagine how we work, to strengthen how we tell stories. Dragon Age will be in good hands. Christian Daly will be moving into the executive producer role, and Christian Daly is a strong leader, and he will provide great insight into the rest of the Dragon Age leadership who remain. This is a team that includes people with decades of experience at BioWare, and I'm confident that together, this is going to be the team that will take Dragon Age to be its best one yet. Now, Matthew Goldman remains as the creative director, and he has been on Dragon Age since the early days of Dragon Age Origins. And like me, this has been involved in the franchise as it has changed over the years. He has a deep understanding of what it has been and what it has the potential to be. Mass Effect 2 has an exciting future. I won't say too much, but I'm impressed by the growth of Mike Gamble, and I'm looking forward to all that franchise will do under his leadership. Likely you're reading this as an entry after reading a similar one from Casey Hudson, and if not, surprise. He has also announced his retirement today. Casey has taught me a lot of things over the years, especially since his return 3 years ago. I look forward to seeing what he does next. This has been a long and exciting journey, and I'm incredibly grateful to Ray and to Greg for taking the chance and on the new graduate back on the early days of BioWare. I have done my best to live up to the values that they set in those early days, values that I think will still flow through me and now virtual and the halls of BioWare. More than anything, I'm thankful for the ability that I have touched so many lives to be given people a chance to explore themselves through our games. And I like to think that I've helped make some of your lives a little better. I hope I'm right. I don't know what's next for me, but I'm excited to find out, just as I'm excited to find out how what Dragon Age now becomes. And finally, there we go, Casey Hudson here. I'm incredibly fortunate to have had the career where I've been able to work with brilliantly talented people, create entire worlds from our imaginations, and see them being enjoyed by millions of people around the world. And now, nearly after 20 years of work at BioWare, I've made the decision to retire from the studio and make my way for for the next generation of studio leaders. It's not an easy decision to make. The big changes like this are always come with a certain degree of sadness. I will miss being able to work every day with our inspiring developers on the biggest and most exciting projects that I can imagine. But I also know that this is a good time for change in both myself and for BioWare. When I became Studio GM a little over 3 years ago, our goal as a leadership team was to position our people and projects for long-term success. Now, as BioWare celebrates its 25th anniversary, the studio is poised for an exciting new era of amazing games. This year, we've been inspired by the continued community of support for our ongoing work on Star Wars, The Old Republic, and Anthem. A few months ago, we provided a deeper look into the work that's going on in the next Dragon Age game. And on N7 Day, we announced that Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, and gave a hint at what's coming next for the Mass Effect universe. It's an exciting time, both in terms of projects that you've heard about and some that we have not yet announced. Arriving at this point has been an opportunity for me to reflect on my own future, and in 2020, it's been a year that forced all of us to reimagine how we think about work and life. For me, it's been a realization that I still have a tremendous energy to create, but also that I need to try something different. I'm not sure exactly what it is yet, but I know that I want to start by rediscovering my creative passion through more personal work. I honestly think he's got a plan, guys. I'm just going to put that out there right now. Mark, the executive producer of Dragon Age, is also announcing his retirement from the studio today. We have worked together since the early days of BioWare, and I have valued his contribution immensely, especially in recent years as a key partner in leading the studio. One of the things that makes these decisions easier is knowing that BioWare will move forward with a strong and complete set of studio leaders. We have a very talented leader in Gary McKay, our Senior Director of Development and Operations, who will be at BioWare's interim studio GM. Christian Daly has also been a driving force for BioWare as a studio director for BioWare Austin, and will be taking over the role of Dragon Age Inquisition executive producer. Gary and Christian have had the support of an experienced group of project and department leaders who are ready to guide BioWare into the future. There are so many more people that I want to thank for sharing this journey. Our players who inspire us to make it all possible. Electronic Arts, which has given us a stable and supportive environment to keep making games even in the most unstable times. And the many amazing people that I have had the honor of working with and learning from over the years. Perhaps most of all, I want to thank BioWare's founders, Greg Zurkic, and Ray Mizuga, for hiring me back in 1998 as a junior technical artist. They took a chance on me and fundamentally altered the course of my life in the most amazing way. Because of their wisdom and foundational values, BioWare has always been a company built on humility, integrity, and the idea of finding great people and fully empowering them. We've been fortunate to have found success, and I know that those enduring values will continue to guide BioWare's success in the future. It's a profound and humbling look back on the decades-long career, and I think about these things and I've watched together. It's hard to make the decision to move on, but I'm excited about what's next for us. Sincerely, Casey Hudson. And so it's obviously at this point that I'm going to put that break point in and welcome back everybody who just went ahead and skipped over the context. So let's have a little fun with them. And if you're now just joining us, I cannot believe that Casey Hudson just said what he said. Like, the words and how it's poetic and at the same time so raw. I'm blown away that he had the balls to say something like that. Truly, Casey, wow. Thanks for taking your time to write those words. That really changed, that took my whole outlook on today and completely changed it up. All right. So now I want to talk about my thoughts, and there's so much here to cover. There's so much to dive into, and I know this is a little bit of a longer video, so I appreciate if you're still here with me. In fact, if you are, do me a favor, sound off in the comments below with the following phrase: "Wow, Brian, you totally changed my mind. I can't believe how bad Nintendo really is." It's really going to confuse the trolls out there. Anybody who's just popping into this video just to try and dunk one way or the other on any particular subject, and if they see those kind of comments, I think it's just going to throw them for a loop. So thank you very much. And it makes me laugh so much. And anyway, the first person to do it, I'll try to pin your comment at the top and give it a heart as well, just so we can have some fun with some trolls. Anyway, so obviously the first kind of thought, like I opened up with the honest thing, I don't know how to feel. My first thought is, holy crap, can Anthem even handle this kind of transition? And I focus on Anthem first because I have hope for that game. I just posted a video about it a couple days ago talking about how like playing it on Xbox Series X is really interesting. If you guys want to see that, link, I'm sure YouTube will recommend it, or you can check out the description. I don't know, one of the two. Beyond Anthem, though, we have the future of Dragon Age. One of the reasons why I think Dragon Age Anthem needs to be restored, redone, like it needs to be saved in a way, is a way that it kind of gives me faith in Dragon Age. It gives me a faith in Mass Effect. It's not that those franchises haven't earned kind of that faith. I just think that when you kind of have those kind of hits, it helps that if you show that, hey, if we make a misstep, we're going to fix it. And even if, and that's kind of what I want to see out of BioWare going forward. Even when Bungie makes a misstep, in my opinion, I think one of the things I do trust is that they're going to work to try and make it better. They're going to take the feedback, they're going to take the critique, and they're going to try to make it better. Whether they do or don't, I mean, that's your opinion, right? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but that's what I want to see from BioWare in this case. Casey, sorry, not Casey, excuse me, so many C's in this world, Christian Daly, who I've been following his blogs about Anthem and how he's, what he's working on. Honestly, I'm rooting for the guy. I've been rooting for him for Anthem, and I hope that he's got some kind of good transition to somebody, within that kind of ecosystem. I really want to see that happen. And the fact that they're giving him Dragon Age I think it's definitely like a sign of good faith. And I'm sure there's going to be people out there, and honestly, I don't care if they, anybody can have any kind of thoughts about this that they want, but I'm sure there's going to be those that look at this in a very negative way. And that does exist. Like, I view what just kind of unfolded with concern, with questions, with doubt. And I'm sure that maybe you're feeling that exact same way. But at the same time, like, this is a big studio. It's got big franchises, and the question is, like, if the old guard is gone, is BioWare really BioWare? Are they really the team? Are they really the company that you fall in love with? And the answer could easily be no. However, people don't go into game development if they don't love it. People don't go work for less money, longer hours, and only to be yelled at online if they don't have a passion for making games. I think BioWare, its name, its prodigy, its heritage, it's like that's a studio that can really help drive more people to it. Like, it's a studio that can garner a massive reputation so that developers and aspiring game makers want to go work there. They want to be a part of that environment and culture. I think. Well, let's come back to the culture thing here in a bit, because it's obviously something we need to discuss. But I think that essentially, if the old guard did their job, the new guard should be strong, empowered, passionate, and with the support and financial backing, have the ability to really create awesome things in games. And that would be great for all of us. So at the end of the day, I think the best way to go about this is to look forward to the Mass Effect remaster, like I am personally, and look forward to the future, but not put I'm not putting any of my happiness or joy into that basket. I'm going to let them hopefully deliver. I'm going to root for them, as I always do. I always like to root for developers. I think that's important. I think usually the conversation when you see kind of the negativity online within the YouTube space is people confuse the developers for the publishers. And personally speaking, I want to root for the people who are working to try and make the best game possible. And art and business, they have to coincide, but they definitely do butt heads from time to time. And that's kind of where the nuance comes in. All right. So I said I want to talk a little bit about the culture, and I think this is where this part is important. I think one of the things that Anthem really revealed is a very sick culture within BioWare. And I say sick, not like in a twisted way, but in a way that, you know what, when everything kind of works and you kind of have these things that are going well and you're making money, we see this in all kinds of industries. Usually people don't question, the problems. Like, oh no, like, hey, maybe we should look into this, or maybe, this is going to be something that could end up being bad. And I think when they talk about that concept of BioWare magic, it's that, yeah, like BioWare would come together in the 9th hour and it's like, man, they delivered this great epic. And sometimes it happens. And I think maybe BioWare got lucky a couple times. Maybe the old guard, like they had that passion. And I think when you look at kind of the critique of what's happened, why a lot of that passion maybe left the studio, why we ended up having Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem back to back, two really hard hitting disappointments, is it came down to a very corporate mindset. And I think what we just read, I think when we went over the posts, those are very PR driven statements. And that's what gives me pause, and that's what gives me concern. Now, maybe they can fix it. Maybe they have fixed it. And I think in all of us, it's important to kind of ask those hard questions and decide who and what we want to support and what we will allow. Crunch culture is going to be something that we're going to see constantly come up. But if the games are good, gamers are really, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, it was a good game. And developers benefit, and crunch pays off. I think crunch culture ultimately ends up being very destructive when the game doesn't come together. Because then people poured in hours, they poured in that passion, they poured in their lifeblood, that life force into the game, and it was just either okay or horrible. And then that's where it gets amplified, because one of the things that helps with crunch or offsets that is the share of the sales and stuff like that. Like when somebody asks you to work crazy hours and you do that, and then all of a sudden a big check shows up in your bank account and you're like, great, let's go on a vacation, let's go rest. Like that ends up being kind of what is the offset. But when that doesn't happen, that's just hard and it's soul crushing. So that is what I'm thinking. And that's kind of where I think it's just like, I just have to take that breath, like I really, really hope that BioWare becomes something bigger. And like I've seen some comments, like if, people like Microsoft just having bought them, like, holy crap, like that would be big news. Hell, EA Play and Access is all a part of the Microsoft system now. Who knows if this is bigger moves, like going on behind the scenes, like why abruptly retire? And it's like, I'm sure there were some conversations, maybe some stock got paid out, And that's where it leaves us. So we'll be following the story as I continue to follow the development of Anthem and root for that game. And then thank you guys for kind of sitting back and hopefully enjoying this video today as we kind of covered the news, my opinion about it. And as always, I'd love to know yours. Thanks for being here, you amazing people. I've been saying thanks for hitting that subscribe button to the amazing, I think it's 6.4 now, like from 6.3, so I'm doing something right. Out of you who guys have hit that subscribe button here at Ginger Prime, thank you for being here. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully you have a fantastic day. And I'll see you in my next video. But until then, take care. This video is sponsored by me, Ginger Prime. Hopefully you'll check out my podcast channel, Ginger Gaming Radio, which we have lots of guests, lots of great conversations, and even more highlights. Links are in the description below. Let me know what you think. Thanks.